Now we discuss a special case of labor rights in Pakistan, which is domestic workers' rights. So these kind of workers are one of the least protected, and mostly they are women and children. Almost all of them work in an informal economy. There is no contract between a worker and the employer. So everything is verbal. And of course, the power distance between the workers and employers is very high. The employers are very powerful and influential as compared to poor workers. So what this has resulted is that labor laws in Pakistan, even if they were not implemented, at least talk about minor rights or workers working in fields or workers working in industries and manufacturing plants or textile plants, but they never talked about domestic worker rights. There is no registration with the government as far as domestic workers are concerned, so they can't get social security benefits. And their number is not small. According to one study, every fourth household in Pakistan hires a domestic worker, whether part-time or full-time. And international studies, they estimate that 4 to 10% of the employment in developing countries is constituted of domestic workers. So this is not a small segment of population or segment of workers. There are two types of domestic workers, this in-house and part-time. In-house workers stay at the employer's place, and they are cooks, maids, nannies, and helpers and drivers. And then there are the part-time workers who come work for a few hours, whether they are 5, 6 hours or 2 hours or 8 hours or 10 hours, but they go back and stay there. Of course, as is clear, the in-house workers are more in danger of exploitation by their employees because they are available 24 hours to the employers. The various kind of problems which domestic workers face is child abuse. You must have heard many stories, newspaper. You have seen stories on the TV or in the news that children as small as 8 are working for more than 10 or 15 hours, and they are burnt by their employers or kicked or abused and even beaten to death by the employers. Then there is the sexual abuse of workers, both male and female. Then there is dangerous work which will, for example, if a small child of 8 or 10 is asked to lift a load of 20 kilos or 15 kilos, it's very dangerous for him. But people do ask their workers to do that. Dangerous workplace, somebody who's working in kitchen with stoves. If a small kid of 5, 6-year-old or 8-year-old is working close to a stove, he is in danger of injury because of heat and other things. So there is no minimum wage as far as domestic workers are concerned, although government announces minimum wage every year with the budget, but that is not employed on the domestic workers. And then, of course, for in-house workers, there are no specific hours. So they can ask their employees to work for 10, 12, 15 hours a day. Then there is gender inequality. No medical help is given, even if they are injured at the employer's house. There is no pension and insurance. When they are injured, they are sent to their home. There are no legal rights. There are some improvement has been started, at least after 2010 or 2011, and people have started to think about how difficult the life of domestic worker is, and there is also international pressure, for example, from ILO, to improve the lives of these workers. So there have been attempts to have legislation that deals with the domestic worker rights. So the first attempt was by the Senate, when in 2015 there was this bill which was passed, but National Assembly didn't pass it. Before that, there was this domestic worker union was formed, which it was registered in Punjab with 2014. They also came up with a model contract for the domestic workers so that they can join the formal economy instead of informal economy. The major achievement as far as domestic workers are concerned was the Punjab Domestic Workers Act 2019. It was the first law which directly addresses domestic workers' rights and their plight. But there are many issues in this law too. This law states that the minimum wage will be 15 years, but according to the Constitution 25A article, till 16 years of age, a child should be in school. So this law goes against the constitutional mandate. Then the maternity benefits are only for 6 weeks, while in other cases for other workers it's 12 weeks. Minimum wage is not clear how it will be implemented in this sector. The penalties for not obeying the rules given in this law are low as compared to the societal standards. And for there is no definition of hazardous work, and 15 years of age, if any person or child is employed, what should be the work given to him. And then of course there is no talk about the unions and can they form unions or not. So these are the problems which the Punjab Domestic Workers Act has. But of course it is still a big achievement, because before that there was no law, and still in other provinces and at the federal level there is no law related to domestic workers. Thank you.